I'm going to show you how to make homemade pasta for a tagliatelle with shrimp. But first we have to get the pasta made because we want to let it rest for about 30 minutes. I have some white all-purpose flour, about 3½ ounces. And I'm going to make a well in the center and crack a large egg. You'll see I'm working on wood because I prefer the texture and it has a lot of friction. So I'm using a fork. I'm gradually taking in the flour. And I think that when you first start learning to make pasta or making it home, it's good just to take a little bit of this flour, move it aside, because depending on the weather, depending on the brand of the flour, the age of the flour, it has a tendency to either accept more liquid or less. So it's just a little precaution. I'm going to use a bench scraper and start bringing in all the flour into the egg. Scraping and cutting. At the point where I see there's no chance that that egg is going to fall off the table, I now am ready to start using this, my palms of my hands and my fingers, and I keep my fingers closed because it's a little bit more comfortable so I don't get too much flour. And I'm going to use the heel of my palm to knead. And this kneading is going to develop the gluten, which I need to stretch the pasta. And you can see now it's very sticky and tacky. At this point, I know that I need more flour. So I'm going to take that extra and continue to knead it into the dough. This can be done in a machine. However, if I'm making a small quantity, it takes just barely under 10 minutes to knead enough for 2 to 4 portions. And now you notice that the dough is no longer sticking to my palms. And that's telling me that it's absorbed enough flour, and with just a few more minutes of this kneading and giving it a good workout, I'm going to be ready to put it aside and let it relax for at least 30 minutes. Okay, so it's 30 minutes later and we've allowed the pasta dough to rest. So I'm going to cut this into 2 pieces and allow this to remain covered so it doesn't dry out. And I'm going to press this piece of dough flat enough so that I can roll it through the widest setting of the pasta machine. This is a typical hand-cranked pasta machine. They come electric. You can buy them and attach them to your mixers that you may have at home. However, what's important to know is that you want to start with the widest setting. If you start with the smaller setting, the dough is likely to get caught and start tearing. So I'm going to take the widest point, the widest, and just pass it through that widest setting one time. And now I'm ready. I'm going to fold it again and pass it through the same widest setting a second time. And I'm going to continue doing this about 8 times until I feel this change in the dough itself and it gets very, very smooth, and you can see that it's almost very laminated or plastic. Okay, I'm going to fold this in half again and add a little bit of flour just to prevent it from sticking to the machine or the rollers as I'm passing it through. Otherwise, it's likely to tear. And I really try to pay attention to the width. Always trying to get it to pass through at the widest. And as I continue to do this, you'll see that I always put it through trying to get the length of the machine. And I think that we need it only one more time. and I can feel that it has changed. So now I'm ready to move to the second setting. Okay, down one. And it's always a good precaution just to take a little bit of flour and keep sprinkling it on. Now, so far so good. We go down one more. The dough is feeling great, very smooth, very soft. And now, final setting. And now you have this long piece of pasta dough, and I'm going to just trim it. I can save all those ends for what we call badly cut pasta. Add a little bit of flour now. And now I'm going to show you how to cut pasta for tagliatelle. It's very important to make sure that you have sprinkled a lot of flour on both sides. You can just take some of that excess, and this will prevent it from sticking when I cut it. I'm going to fold both ends in again, and over. Turn it around, take a knife, and trim a little. And now, this is about, I don't know, 3/8 of an inch wide, cutting through. And don't worry if some of them are a little irregular, because that's going to tell everybody that you have cut these by hand. And here we have this beautiful tagliatelle. Take those few last strands. And now I'm going to take some semolina flour. This is coarse ground. You could use cornmeal, that would be fine. But very important to make sure you dust a lot on your sheet tray, and then you can just twirl your pasta and consider that one portion. As a precaution, you can also sprinkle a little bit of this semolina and just let it sit.